Hey, Alex here, and today we're tackling yet another Predator build, because you guys won't shut up about them, and I love that. Now, this guy is a little special, not because he's slow, but because he's not so much a new character, but a redesign. That's right, this is technically still Lasershot, who is one of my favorite Predators on paper. The execution is a little too over the top, which I know it's a Kenner thing, but the lore behind Lasershot being this augmented cyberpunk predator hunting through time, well, that's a winning formula. So we're gonna build off that, but with a twist. We're gonna mix and match to include Lasershot with the concrete jungle story, which has Scarface facing off against a bunch of augmented bad bloods in a cyberpunk setting. No, this isn't just a thinly veiled self-promotion for my Concrete Jungle retrospective, which you should totally watch and leave a like. I could definitely use the dopamine. But that aside, Lasershot fits that cyberpunk aesthetic so well that it's a total shame that the coolest thing we got were the Terminator crotch piece and the prosthetic hand. So we're going full cyberpunk and giving him some new gear, starting with those obsolete meat sticks he calls legs.
Oh, it's like a G-string. Oh, God.
We start by breaking him down piece by piece until we're left with this sad nugget of a predator, which we're gonna completely rebuild using this. It's the Gypsy Avenger from Pacific Rim. Now, this is actually a bootleg that I got from AliExpress for around 10 bucks, which turned out a bit smaller than I expected.
They're just about the same height.
But totally worth the price.
I say this now, and I'll say this always. If you can get a bootleg, get the bootleg. A lot of the times, it's going to be more than perfectly suited for whatever you need. Especially if you're making customs. You're collecting figures? Sure, why the hell not?
Once we have both figures broken down to their base pieces, we can start the cyber enhancement, which pretty much just mean we're gonna Frankenstein this whole thing together. Starting off with the Predator torso, which has a little too much meat, so we're gonna slim him down using our Dremel. And after putting in some work, we're left with the upper abdomen hollowed out just enough to fit our cyber implant that we glue using some black 2-part epoxy. But we're not done yet, because our short king needs a boost. Yeah, he's a little short, so we're gonna need to add a few inches, which we do by using some epoxy clay, leaving us with an extra tall, fully posable cyber legs. You see, the ball joint in the leg allowed us to keep some extra posability. Little did I know, this was gonna come back to bite me in the ass. But for now, we move on to his chest armor, which is just a trimmed down version of the original without the bulky shoulder pads to go along, leaving us with this sleeker bandolier armored vest, which we're gonna cyberpunk even more by adding a giant back mounted caster. Yes, I know he already had one, but my version is gonna be better, because we're gonna be using magnets. That's right, we're living in the future. We start off easy by adding a magnet into the plaster, using some epoxy clay to seal it up. Adding the magnet to the vest was a bit more difficult, since I'm kinda stupid and went for the melting method, which, if you missed out on science class, well, heat totally kills magnets.
I fucking knew I was gonna do it, but yeah, definitely demagnetize the fucking magnet. Look. I'm annoyed.
So, I had to rush to a Daiso to get more tiny magnets, which were a bit different, so I had to free them by hand.
Okay, got it. Okay.
But it definitely paid off in the end.
And voila! That's pretty good. That's really good. I like that.
Still, we're not done, because we're going to be using the back piece to make a super sleek generator that we're going to wire up using some actual wires. And to do that, we're pretty much just shoving in a bunch of wires into the hole and using some more epoxy clay to cover it up. Lastly, we're going to finish off the top with the Gypsy Avenger shoulder pad, making sure things match. Things were going too well, so of course, everything started to fall apart, starting with a break.
Fuck you. Fuck your leg. Piece of shit.
So it turns out it was too much pressure for the joint to handle, which left me resculpting the leg joint.
That hurt.
But things only got worse when a freak accident left me half blind. I guess caking the thighs in super glue wasn't a good idea, since it squirted directly into my eye. Please don't take that out of context. This freak accident left me emotionally defeated and literally disabled. This was me the following morning. I woke up crying, which I guess isn't new, but still, this time it was worse. I got back to it, though I'll admit I wasn't fully there.
So I just do it. We're gonna trim it down and give it a nice, give it.
What I was trying to say is that we were gonna smooth down the peg and clean up the leg, giving us a perfect fit. But with all our pieces prepped, we can move on to the painting, which brings us over to the spooky corner, where we prime things using some black spray paint. It's the spooky corner because, as some of you pointed out, there's no ventilation and the fumes are slowly killing me. Anyways, I was too lazy to mask the head, so I went for the arguably harder hand-painted method. And at first, I was worried about what colors to use, but since I'm pretty much brain dead and color impaired, I ended up falling back for the proven paint scheme of black, red, and silver. No, I didn't use this last time. What? You're crazy. This time we're gonna add a nicer spin by adding metallic highlights on the Gypsy Avenger pieces, which should hopefully give us some semblance of depth while making things pop. Now, the highlights require very fine motor skills, which is hard when you have literal ape hands. So to make the application easier, I watered down the paint, making it a wet wash of sorts that, with a little guidance, settles nicely in all the creases. From there, we move on to the torso, which also gets silver detailing, along with the hand and its legs. We finish off the prosthetics with our red, which we're mostly going to be using as mini lights in the armor. From there, we move on to the weapons, which get the same color treatment, with the caster getting an extra silver dry brushing to make it look like a heavy piece of machinery. That we're gonna finish off with a bunch of red lights for that cyberpunk look.
I am conflicted.
We move on to the vest.
I'm at a loss. I don't know what to color this. I don't want to just leave it black, because I already did that with everything else. What do? What?
In the end, I went for a direct cyberpunk influence with the Arasaka vest, which brought some nice red detailing around the collar, which the head is totally going to end up covering up, but we make up for it by adding a bunch of red lights, making it seem like we did something. Yeah, I'm a lazy ape. Add our caster and finish it off with the built-in generator. From there, we can start the assembly, which gets a little complicated when it comes to the legs. You see, we're going for that Atom Smasher look, and that means wires out the ass, literally. So, we prep things by drilling out 4 holes into the torso, big enough to fit some wiring. I also pre-drilled the thigh holes, so after measuring and cutting, all I had to do was glue things in place, which I managed to screw up.
No!
Twice.
You fucking idiot, Alex. Oh my god.
Yeah, these legs really put me through the ringer, but not like I could just give up, considering I almost went blind, and I'm already this far gone. So we carry on, and get each set of wires into their respective holes, giving us some symmetry, which we finish off with the rest of the legs.
Oh, it took way too fucking long.
From there, we move on to the torso, where we glue on his new arm along with his shoulder pads, which I always forget to record for some reason. But yeah, they're there. And lastly, we finish things with the vest, which we wire into his chest, his wristband, and of course, his cybernetic arm. Come on, how else are you gonna power it all up? But with that, we're pretty much done. And despite all the hardships, in the end, I'm glad I put in the work, because it ended up looking pretty damn good.
I love that. Look at that. Oh, yes. It's fucking chef's kiss right there.
So let's go check out the finished product. Okay, now that's the finished product, so let's go ahead and take a look at just how well this holds. And unfortunately, since I didn't drill a hole into this, it doesn't really want to stay, but we'll fix that later. But aside from that, he's super articulated, but that doesn't just mean I want to go and push it. As you can see, push too much and the whole wire comes out. But now this is my favorite part, not his cock, but the wires going into the abdomen. It's just a great look. It fits right into the hole. That's what she said. But as far as legs go, they are a little wonky because it is a bootleg and never stood up well. And now that it's got the heavy load, you know, the Predator, it's just as bad. It's mostly at the ankles. He's got some weak boy ankles. Just look at that shit. The backpack and the plasma caster do get kind of in the way, so he's always just looking off and onto the side, which isn't a bad thing since that is technically where he's shooting from. And of course the magnet, which is nice, and when he's not shooting, he can just put it on like this, which makes it look pretty cool. Honestly, I do love the magnet edition. I definitely need to implement more magnets into other projects. And then we got the little red lights, which you can barely see, but which of course adds to that cyberpunk aesthetic. And now, he's definitely limited by the shoulder pads as far as the outward movement goes, but you still got a good basic range. The other arm isn't limited whatsoever, even by the wire, which already came out. And of course, he's packing some heavy weapons, like the sword and another caster, I guess. But that's how you get it in. Pretend that's in there. And then for the sword, you know, just pop it in, and voila! He's got a whole ass sword. Still, can't stand for shit though, so just look out for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. It helps motivate me and keep the content coming. So yeah, don't forget to say hi to your mom for me. And with that, stay poochy, and I'll catch you on the next one.